I think ideally, we would see a decrease in Russian imports of gas and oil and petroleum products to cut their funding stream. On the other, India is making the case that they are being unfairly targeted because other countries are actually buying Russian energy products as well.
China buys much more crude oil from Russia than India buys, right? But for China, the duty is 30%, and for India, the duty is 50%. What's the logic? I mean, we definitely wanted the ceasefire to happen at the earliest, but the fact is, you have to go into a lot of legacy issues. And India has an open mind. Can US supply oil to India at crude oil to India at a rate cheaper than that of Russia? I don't think it can, right? If it can, there may not be as much of a problem in buying from the US or from any other source, from any of the oil exporting countries. Look at European Union, it is 15%, right? Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, it is 19%, 19. Japan and UK, it is 10%, right? South Korea, it is 15%. Countries like Vietnam, Sri Lanka, Taiwan, they're 20%, right? So these are largely the countries with whom we compete for many of the product categories that we export to the US, right? So how could we compete this, right? So US also has to realize that it's a very unfair and unjustified tariff rate they have subjected us to. And, I fundamentally believe let this battle not be fought on Twitter or any of the social media handles. Let the subject matter experts on both the sides sit together. And I would again repeat, not wait for 24th or 25th of August when the talks are scheduled in New Delhi, right? They have to start engaging much earlier.
If you're looking at the tariffs that threaten to disrupt India's access to its largest export market, you're going to see sectors like textiles and footwear and gems and jewelry hit.
Whether the exemption on semiconductors, on iPhones, on electronic components, or pharmaceuticals will continue for a long term. Well, nothing can be said, but I suspect it would continue long term for one reason that US fully understands that these are the products which, if they are heavily taxed by way of higher tariffs, would hurt America far more than it would hurt India.
You're going to see some question marks from companies wondering and watching very closely what happens with this negotiation, because if in fact they are investing and making large capital investments in manufacturing facilities in India, that will be subject to higher tariffs exporting out of India to the US and integrating into supply chains, then that will become problematic for those companies and for India in terms of losing investment into the country. So both Trump and Modi will want to have the final perceived upper hand, or at least wins on both sides for any agreement to move forward. And again, it's complicated because you have layers of larger strategic, sort of global strategic, regional strategic, and specific trade-related issues that have really, been problematic for many years between the US and India. So you have, a lot on the table with two very strong characters to negotiate in a very short amount of time.